Sylvie, you mentioned before, you were talking about the strengths and sort of gaps of the young artists community in the ACT in Australia, and you mentioned that the young artists have an exuberance which is difficult to reconcile with the professionalism that they need to develop. Can you explain that further?
Well, basically, I mean, I really think the biggest asset is their exuberance and their creativity and their creative ideas. However, to try and teach someone who is that enthusiastic to curb it a little is a delicate line to tread. Because often people fully, as you would know yourself, as I would know, creating whatever it is that I create music-wise, you get very excited when an idea manifests. So it's very hard to get a little bit of feedback, but it has to be done. And the thing that I've always felt, Canberra's a very good place for taking time out from the hustle and bustle of a city like Sydney or Melbourne or Brisbane, and one can really hone one's craft here without those added distractions or the burden of financial burdens that manifest or that it takes to exist in a larger city. So usually what happens is, like for instance Peter Wilkins, who was with Skylight Company, took time out. He was with a different Melbourne theatre, Melbourne puppet company, and he came to Canberra to specifically take time out and create something for himself. And then he ended up being one of the participants in the 2000 Olympics with his huge, butterflies and big puppets and presentations. So Canberra's a great place to hone your craft and really get to understand how to promote it, how to, fine-tune everything and then go out into the big wide world. The gaps that I believe perhaps in Canberra that exist is that, as you were saying, with the exuberance of young creative energy, the gaps, I think, with the exuberance of the young creative energy is having mentors that have the patience and tolerance to really help steer and direct and participate and allow that creativity to continue growing and developing without damaging, because it's a very delicate process, very like a baby butterfly or something. You don't want to hurt the wings too much. You still want it to fly and go forward. But there's a lot of people leave Canberra. Canberra's a very transient city, or the ones that remain get burned out and make silly mistakes that probably shouldn't have manifested. But that's the nature of somebody who's burned out. However, I think this is a very creative little hubbub of a place, and a lot has prospered and grown. And as long as the right mentors are seeked, people look for the right mentors and the compatibility is there, then I think this is a tremendous place for people to prosper and continue developing, but reach and actually attain the next level. And the other benefit, I reckon, is that if you're in the pool, if you're in the competition from Sydney, you're in with a hell of a lot more people. If you're in the competition pool from Melbourne, you're up against a lot of people. The rest of Australia pricks up their ears when there's somebody creative coming out of the ACT or saying, I'm here in the ACT, here's my work, whether it's film, music or whatever. People, just even recently I think the Dendy Cinemas approach me and say, who is there in Canberra, so we need to, or Tropfest or somebody approached, I can't remember what, sorry, apologies on that, but I mean, the point is I was approached to nominate or identify some creative people that could represent Canberra. So you're a step ahead. If you're in Canberra putting your hand up, then Australia and the rest of the world, well, Australia specifically, want to know who is creative coming out of Canberra. So there's a lot to be said about little old Canberra.